Give people a minute to join. A lot of good games today. A lot of stuff going on over the weekend.
Yeah, busy weekend in baseball.
Always, bro. The sport is an absolute grind, as you know.
Yep.
People think it's not very physically towing, and I mean, obviously it's not. But playing 162 games in an 8-month span, that's a lot of moving around, and it wears people down. I think it's more towing than people think, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it is. It's a long grind of a season, that's for sure.
100%, dude. 100%. Well, I hope we've got some heads in here. We got our guy Delberto coming up here at some point. He will be joining us. We're going to be talking a little bit of weekend recap. We'll be talking Red Sox. Is Story back? Probably. Adley and the Orioles we're going to be talking about. AJ Pollock, dead baseballs. He called it out on national TV, which is good. We need more of that. Verlander's back. Machado, probably the best player in baseball right now. A lot of stuff to talk about. Good looks, my man in the chat with Princeton. That was literally the lock of the century. And I got to invite Delberto to this so he can come. Let's see. Hoping the rain holds off so I can go to the Nats game today. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Alberto, I got you on the link. Parlay Safari Pirates today, 1,000%.
Damn
1,000%. 1,000%. Make that line make sense. Everyone's acting like Chad Kuhl is going to win the freaking Cy Young. Make that make sense. I can't. I cannot make that make sense. I'll be all over it. All over it. What else, chat? Any other stuff today? Any other games you're looking at? I know it's early. We got some time. Not a lot of games today, which is huge. I like smaller slates. Big slates are a lot. I just think it's harder. I think there's more opportunities to find fishy lines when there's, 15 games in a day. But I think it's easier to cap these games when there's only, 8 to 10. I think it's just easier to dig into them.
Yeah.
What do you think,
100%.
Javon?
No, I agree. I think it, especially, for people like me and like a lot of people use kind of advanced analytics and look at all that, it gives you a lot more time to get deeper into the games, get every angle of it possibly, so you can really
100%.
find the angle they like.
Yo.
What's up?
Uh-oh.
What's up, brother? We can hear you, bro. I don't know if you can hear us. You live, Delberto? Okay. We'll let him figure that out. Dodgers-Yankees parlay. Hilarious.
Hammer feed.
Hilarious. Oh, see ya. Okay. Pirates money line, DCL. Love Pirates ML. 100%. Sharp as attack. But yeah, guys, I'm trying to continue to grow this stream, obviously. And as we get closer to Trent's stream, more people hop in. But yeah, send it to your buddies. Anyone who likes talking MLB, talking sports, talking bets, talking winners, send it to your buddies. Let's start growing this shit. We got some cool guests coming on this week. I'm not going to announce or spoil anything yet, but stay posted. Tomorrow we should have the full lineup of people coming on. If I'm on the Pirates, you're on the Pirates. It's that simple. Puffer, no shirt. Yes. Give me a weird corner. Soccer bet I can take, my man. Need it. Absolutely need it. Let's see. Trying to send this link out to some people. But yeah, we got a big day today talking. I know I already kind of went into this, but a lot of stuff I want to go into, and we can honestly get started, Javon and Delberto will catch up. But I want to talk Red Sox, man. Do you think the Red Sox are back? Trevor Story looks like he's finally seeing the ball well. I think they are. I think they're on their way. Their offense, their stats, honestly, pitching and offensive wise, I feel like have been better than their winning record. And I think it's starting to finally turn around for the Sox. What do you think? You think they're back? Do you think they'll end up being a playoff team? Do you think they're going to stay hot? Where's your head at with these guys?
I like what I've seen from them. Obviously, not as a Rays fan, but
Right.
good to see, obviously, Trevor Story get going, some of the other guys. Honestly, some of the hotter guys in their lineup, like JD, they've cooled off a little bit, but the rest of the lineup seems to be picking up a little bit of the slack. When you see like what they're doing offensively and even in their bullpen, which used to be, I'm not going to say used to be because it's only been a little bit now since they've gotten hot here, but bullpen's given up 3 earned runs in their last 20 innings. So, I mean, during this little 5-game win streak that they've gone on. So, I don't know. I think you look at their schedule coming up: White Sox, Orioles, Reds, A's. This is like really what is going to determine what they can do down the stretch because these are all very winnable games. And with their offense kind of waking up a little bit, these are games against teams that a very minimal offensive showing can get you wins. So I think through this stretch, if Trevor Story, stays hot, the rest of the lineup picks it up, it's going to really determine what they are down the stretch.
100%. Could not agree more. Roberto, we live, brother?
Yes. I don't know what was happening, but I couldn't hear anything. So,
Yo.
can you hear me?
How we doing, bro? Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
yeah. Sorry I'm late. I had a meeting and it went long as always. So
You're good, my dude. That's how it goes, man. Working for the man. Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it. We're talking Red Sox. Delberto. I think they're back. They're hot. We're going to go through. I have, top 10 power rankings. We're going to go through a little bit later, but they're not in my top 10 yet. They're in my honorable mention. They're heating up. I'm not ready to put them in there yet. Obviously, they have a losing record, but I think, and they have a lot of work to do, no doubt. But I think they're going to be okay. And they're starting to hit the damn baseball. And I mean, their team is fine. I mean, if they're playing, anywhere close to the level they're playing last year, and then with Story now, I don't see how they don't make the playoffs if they continue hitting the ball like this. What do you think?
Yeah, no, they're bowling. So last year, I think they did something similar, right? Or was it the opposite? Did they start super hot and then fall apart, or is it?
I think last year they started out hot.
Yeah, then they fell apart late. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think they're looking really good lately. They've been. I think one of their things was that they weren't really hitting to start off the year, but over the last week we've seen a crazy increase in the amount of balls that they're smacking. Like over the last week, they're like almost batting 300 as a team collectively, which is pretty ridiculous. So I don't know if they can keep up the kind of stats they're putting up right now, but I think that they'll find a good in between, and then they'll be able to compete for the East out there. So
I mean,
it's always good when the East is competitive. So
100%, it's good for baseball. Good for baseball. Devers is hitting 335. Bogart's hitting 325. Who else? I mean, JD is raking. Is JD hurt? Is he hurt?
I think so.
No, I mean he's over the last 7 days he's played 6 games, so I don't think so.
Okay, he's not hurt.
Yeah. Well, yeah, his stats over the last week are unreal.
He's mashing the ball, absolutely mashing the ball. And honestly, they haven't really even gotten much from Kike yet this year. They haven't really gotten much from Story except for this weekend. They've got even more potential offensively, which is pretty scary because they've been scoring a ton of runs. This Red Sox team, they got heart. I would definitely not. That's a team that I would not want to play, down the line. I think they could probably they're one of those teams that could beat anybody and lose to anyone, right? That's kind of how I see them. Is Evaldi going to, keep this up? Is Walker going to keep this up? That's TBD. Their bullpen's definitely pretty sauce. But, I mean, right now they're playing great. And they've also, I mean, their coach is great. Alex Cora, I think, is a great coach, cheat and shit aside. Chris Sale. Nobody's talking about Chris Sale. He'll be back at some point. They need him.
That's going to be huge.
If they have him, Walker, and Evaldi going into the playoffs, that's a three-headed monster I would not want to face, man. Gosh, they could be good.
When they get Sale back, too, I think it'll be super important because I think they really need to stop this Garrett Whitlock experiment of having him as a starter. He needs to be
they need bullpen help. So it's honestly, it makes a lot of sense. Maybe they go out and get a starter and then they move him back to the pen. I do agree. They're stretching him out and it's starting to get to him. And I'm worried because, I mean, has this dude ever at this pace, he's never pitched this many innings in a season. His arm's about to fall off. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, when he's going past like 3-4 innings, he's been super inefficient. Pitch count's been sky high. So they're really going to burn this dude out if they don't move him back to the pen.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%. Well, we'll keep our eyes peeled on the Red Sox. They're not in my top 10 yet. I mean, they have a losing record. They've got some work to do. But I'm impressed. I've been impressed over the last week. I think baseball is better when the Red Sox are good. Just to be completely honest. I mean, Javon, I know you're a Rays fan. Probably hurts your heart to hear that, but baseball is better when the Yankees and Red Sox are good. That's just how it is. There's nothing better than watching the Yankees Red Sox game on national TV. Straight up. It's like the Commanders Cowboys, right? Oh, what a joke. What a joke. We're not even going to go into that stuff. But I do want to talk about Adley Rutschman coming up here, getting a triple and a walk in his first start. Gosh, he looked nervous up there. I'm not going to lie. Struck out on 3 pitches his first at bat. Looked a little shaky behind the plate for sure. But you could tell this dude's about to be a monster. He's absolutely ginormous. He's got great vision up there at the plate. I mean, he had a triple in his first game. Can't really ask for a better game. Than a better first game than that. The dude's going to be a stud. I'm really excited for this Orioles team. I know they're not great. I wouldn't even say they're good yet, but I think honestly next year, when they call Grayrod up, we'll have to see how he actually is, but I'm pretty high on him. This is an Orioles team I could see potentially, they give me 2013 Orioles vibes. Maybe they can even sneak into the playoffs next year or have close to a winning record. We'll have to see, but they've got some guys who can hit. If they can go out and maybe get another arm, I mean, their bullpen's pretty darn good and underrated. They've got some young guys with some nasty stuff, good numbers. If they can get, a starter maybe at the deadline or next year, and then they bring up Grayrod, John Means comes back. The Orioles got a bunch of young bats, right? This is a team that could be pretty decent. I really do think so. And honestly, you got to root for teams like this, right? You got to root for small market teams like the Orioles. I'm rooting for them. I think it's fun. I think calling up Adley, great story. What do you guys think about these O's? Do you think they're anything? You think they're just, on a little bit of a run right now? What do we think?
No, I think it's a pretty good sign for their future, honestly. And not just saying this because I kind of want everything to circle back to the Rays, but I mean, watching them this weekend, especially their team build is very similar to what the Rays try to do. I mean,
Yep.
you talk about their bullpen, they're pumping out 5-6 guys that just come out of the pen, pumping 98 with nasty off speed. I mean, they've retooled some of their starters. Like last year, they had Jorge Lopez starting. Guy was 3 for 14 with a 6 ERA. Now he comes in the pen. They retooled him. He has 1.35 ERA in 18 appearances. Same with Keegan Aiken. He's really, really dealing out of the pen. But I mean,
it's so crazy. He's such a bad starter.
Really, yeah, I love facing both those two guys, and now I can't stand when they come in out of the pen to face those. But I think their pitching, especially with the guys they're going to call up next year, year after, they've got the tools to keep themselves in every game. And then they got bats that'll do the same. And if they get a couple guys, they're going to be really scary. And this division is going to be really, really scary for the next couple years.
100%.
No, yeah, I think that a lot of the times people compare the Orioles with like the bottom of the league, like the Reds, the Cubs, those kind of teams. But if you look at like their underlying statistics and how they perform, they are a much better team than their record. I think the problem is that they kind of live in the shadows of the East with all those powerhouse teams out there. So I feel like they are on the rise. I think within the next few years we'll see them become a playoff contender. Especially with the way that they're structuring their roster, kind of, you mentioned like the Rays. Like right now, we see their bullpen is like what, top 5, top 6 in the league. They they have the arms and they have the bats. I think it's just kind of putting it all together. They might need a few more pieces, obviously, to make it come full circle. But like over the last few weeks, we've seen that they're able to put up runs, and
100%.
they're like within winning distance in almost all their games. So
they're in the toughest position, one of the toughest divisions of baseball. And honestly, this is another dub for them next year. Teams are playing less games against their divisional opponents starting next year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it was one of you guys who brought that up to me. It was somebody brought it up to me the other day, and that's huge for them. That's huge for teams who are stuck in very good divisions. And I think that's also going to be good for baseball. Hopefully helps out some of these teams, historically are at the bottom of these divisions, helping them out playing these other teams. So that's, I think it's good for baseball. I'm excited. how can you not root for the Orioles? I know, Javon, you're a Rays fan, but this team
I
is
love the Orioles.
they've got heart, they've got grit, they've got a bunch of no names, but I mean, at this point, they're starting to hit the ball pretty good. They've got the bullpen. It comes down to starters for them, I think. Maybe they can go get a guy. I mean, I'd want to go pitch in Camden Yards right now. They just moved the fence back in left field and make it like a freaking super park. I'd want to come
it's
there
so
and pitch.
crazy seeing that.
I'd want to go there and pitch straight up. Why not? Right? It's like impossible. I mean, the only guys who can hit ones out are your guy. Gosh, what's his name? Mike Zanino hit one out as soon as you called it, Javon. And Giancarlo and Santander wrapped one around the pole. Like there has not been many home runs to left field this year. I mean, there's been almost no home runs. I think there's been less than 10 this whole season. So I think they should move it back, first of all. But second of all, that should attract more pitchers to want to come. You know?
100%, yeah.
All right. So
I think that's one thing we see with the Giants too. I feel like the Giants attract all these pitchers that are kind of undervalued, and then they go to San Francisco, and then they have a great pitching staff out there. So then they have these great seasons, and then all their value goes up, like what we saw with Gosman and a few other pitchers, like Rodon and things like that. But
100%.
But yeah, so
Honestly,
how about your Padres getting the Rodon yesterday?
Oh yeah, love to see it.
Oh yeah, they love lefties, bro. They love hitting lefties. That's a fact. Gosh,
Yeah, we do.
AJ Pollock coming out on TV talking about dead baseballs. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. We've talked about this already so much, but I mean, all the players know it. All the players know it. It's ridiculous. MLB, fix it. It's bad for baseball. Makes it harder to bet on. It's not fair. It's not fair to teams who are getting the dead baseballs and getting the good baseballs. Ex-Nationals hitting coach Kevin Long, who I think is a Phillies hitting coach now, came out and said that when they went over there to play in LA, remember they played a 4-game series and there was just tons and tons of runs. He was talking about how those baseballs were juiced. He could tell they were different. I mean, it's a thing. Everyone knows it. Nothing's going to be done about it, which really stinks. But it's out there. I mean, my guy AJ Pollock was talking about it mid-game in an interview, saying they're hitting wet socks out there. He's pissed. I mean, it's affected the White Sox a ton. Their bats really have not gotten going until of late. It's ridiculous. There needs to be a standard set. The MLB needs to figure it out. Typical MLB with some fluke shit, but figure it out. I don't know why we'd want less runs in general. First of all, I don't understand that. If you're trying to grow the game, more runs is better. Look at hockey this year. Everyone's loving hockey this year because they're scoring a ton of goals. I don't know why they wouldn't want more runs. I guess it's maybe the owners, the ones that are making the call, and they don't want to pay guys. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but everyone knows what's good. I'm going to be very, very careful betting over-unders for the foreseeable future, just because I'm tired of betting on games and seeing balls off the bat, thinking they're home runs, and then they're pop-ups. I'm tired of it. So that's kind of my little rant on that. But, I mean, players are literally saying on national TV how the balls are dead. Let's figure this out. Let's figure it out.
Yeah. It does suck. They're trying to minimize the amount of $300 million players. That's the problem.
Yeah,
really stinks. It's not fair.
I think obviously this is a terrible approach to take, but one of the things I've seen is that they're trying to eliminate kind of the two-pronged hitting approach of just home runs and strikeouts, and they're thinking like, oh, let's get balls in the gap. Let's have active offense around the bases. That'll get fans engaged. Obviously, it's a terrible, terrible approach, just like they do everything else. But I think it's definitely an interesting point that they could have explored it for.
I want more runs. I was a hitter in high school. I want to see runs. I'm not a pitcher's guy. I get it, I guess, with the owners, but I just think it's very unfair. They're manipulating the game, and they're not being open and honest about it. If you're going to do stuff like this, at least come out and say what you're doing. It's like you're getting little bits and pieces from these interviews and leaks and stuff coming out, and coaches and players talking about stuff, but the MLB needs to address it. It's ridiculous. Justin Verlander. Goodness gracious, Justin Verlander is absolutely cracked out right now. He's thrown 3 straight scoreless games. I tried to get cheeky, and I took his under strikeouts the other day and looked like an idiot. This dude is absolutely dominating. Is this the best Justin Verlander has ever looked? Because I watch him pitch, and it might honestly, this might be the best Verlander I've ever seen. He looks unhittable up there. I know he's almost thrown 2 no-hitters this year. He's 39 years old, and he's coming off of Tommy John. We're going to hear more people talking about this, because it's starting to be, the sample size is growing, and he continues to go out there and dominate. But gosh, Justin Verlander looks unhittable at age 39. I don't know. It baffles me. It makes no sense. It's Tom Brady-esque. The dude is
Really
an absolute animal. He's already a Hall of Famer, but it's just incredible. It's incredible to see, him come back from TJ like this, absolutely dominating, absolutely shoving. The Astros are scary, especially with Verlander pitching like this. Goodness gracious, Verlander, respect, man. It's unbelievable to watch. It's unbelievable to watch.
It's scary. It's scary to see him with this type of stuff. Obviously, in his older age and coming off of TJ, swing and miss stuff is there. He looks like prime Detroit Verlander. I mean, it's crazy to see him still pitching like this, game in, game out. So I agree.
100%. And I want to know, chat, do you guys like the Rockies today or Pirates today in the first game? I want to see what people are liking while we're talking this stuff. And we got to, Dilberto, I got to bring it up for you. Manny Machado, 4 for 4 yesterday, 3 doubles. The dude is the best hitter in baseball right now. I'd love to hear you just go on about your guy, because you know more than me. Is Manny Machado the best player in baseball right now?
I'm biased, but yes, I believe so. I mean, when you look at any hitting stat possible, he's pretty much top 5 in every single stat, and top 1 in the 3 most important, I think, would be top batting average. I need to pull it up to make sure I'm not pulling out bullshit, but I think he's top in batting average, top in on base percentage, leads the league in WAR. Some people are against the WAR statistic, but if you read into how it's calculated and what it kind of is used for, I think it's a very valuable stat to use for comparing baseball players, because it allows you to compare players across position, across season, across different teams, because some people think that it's wins above replacement, but it actually doesn't even take into account the amount of wins that the team gets. So I feel like the name of the stat is a little bit misleading. But last time I looked, he was at 3.1 WAR, which is on pace for the best season as a position player since like 1965, I think.
Since Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Might
So
as well
it's
be.
yeah. Well,
Wow.
so I was reading into Trout was on a little bit better of a trajectory in 2018, I believe it was. He was at 3.5 at this point in the season, and he ended around 11. So, and back then when this happened in May of 2018, they were writing articles about, is this the best season that we're going to see since Babe Ruth?
Wow.
And Manny Machado isn't far behind that number that Trout was at this point in the season. And I've honestly heard zero Manny Machado talk on any type of MLB show. They talk about how he's hot, but they don't talk about how historical the season is so far. Like, there's only been 40 games so far, which is about what, a fourth of the season, I guess.
It's pretty much almost a fourth. Yep.
Yeah. Which I know it's early, but the stats that he's putting up, if he continues to do it, he will be the walkaway winner with or runaway winner with MVP for sure.
I mean, he's hitting 375, 8 home runs, almost a 450 on base percentage, 620 slugging. The dude's absolutely raking. You can't really pitch around him, because then you got Eric Hosmer, who's also been, hot as shit, right behind him. Yeah. And they don't even have Tatis back yet.
Exactly.
They don't have Tatis back yet. And we'll go into, I'm about to dig into my power rankings, and I want you guys to give me your honest opinions. I'm very curious. But we haven't even seen the full potential of this team yet, and their pitchers have been overperforming. If this Padres team, I've been number one Padres hater. Alberto, you know that. I'm always tripping them, saying I don't believe in them. But they keep proving me wrong. And if they keep proving me wrong, I'm going to eat my words, and I'm going to be honest and say they're a good team. Right now, they're a good team, straight up. We'll see if they can keep it up. Their arms are dominating. We're going to get to it, but they have so many pitchers they have 3 guys in the top 5 most quality starts of the season. It's nuts. Exactly. It's absolutely nuts. But yeah, I want to go through my power rankings. We'll start at the bottom, and I want to see what you guys think about it. Put a couple hours in this morning. So I got a couple honorable mention guys. Got 4 honorable mention teams, and then a top 10. The 2 last honorable mention teams are 2 teams that are heating up, but 2 teams that have losing records still. 2 teams that down the line will probably make their way into this top 10 at some point. Would not be surprised. And it's the Red Sox and it's the White Sox. Both Sox, they need to show me a little bit more. and win more games. To be honest with you, you can't put a team with a losing record up in the top 10 power rankings. That's ridiculous. But they're coming. These guys are coming. TA is leading the White Sox. The Red Sox bats are absolutely raking right now. These two teams are coming. I would not want to play them coming down the line here. Joe Kelly looks like he figured it out in his last start. So if that White Sox bullpen can get right, they're a scary team. They're a scary team. And then I've got the Blue Jays, who have been kind of meh, especially on the road this year. And Vladdy's been kind of meh recently. Nothing special, but they have a good record right now. They're still winning games, but I'm not scared of the Blue Jays one bit. And then I got the last team, number 11. First one out is the Giants, in my opinion. The Giants still win games, and they've had so many injury problems. I'm very curious to see how this team plays out down the line when all their guys come back. They just sent Brandon Belt back to the IL. They've been struggling with injuries. I think a fully healthy Giants team is definitely in the top 10, but they're not healthy right now, and they're not winning that many games right now. I think, did you guys sweep them, Dilberto, in the last series, or take 2 or 3? Either way, you guys are.
We swept.
We swept them.
Them.
You swept. Say it with your chest. You swept. That a boy. The Giants team, they've got the injury bug. We still know they're good, but right now they don't belong in the top 10. They don't. Number 10, Javon, you're going to disagree with this one. It's the Rays. You probably have them a little higher. I've got them at 10. They're the best organization in baseball. They've got one of the best bullpens in baseball. But they haven't even really played to their potential yet, but they're still winning games. I feel like their lineup has so much more potential. I need to see more out of them. But I've got them at 10 and definitely looking to move them up at some point. But they just keep finding ways to win. Straight up. Kevin Cash, great coach. I know I give him shit for doing some crazy stuff, calling him the mini Joe Madden or whatever, but he's a great coach. I'd take him in a heartbeat on the Nats. That's for sure. Number 9, I've got the Twins. I think one of the most underrated, under-talked about teams in baseball. Am I sold on them? No. But are they winning baseball games, and do they look pretty darn good? Oh, yeah. Byron Buxton, one of the best hitters in baseball, and he hasn't even really played that well yet. He's been a little hurt too. And Carlos Correa, same thing. He's playing pretty good, but he's been hurt too. He's actually back now, which is good. They just sent down one of their prospects who came up and was playing really good. I was surprised to see them send him down. But their rotation's been great too. Sonny Gray making a career comeback. Joe Ryan coming to this team and teaching everyone how to throw this new fastball. And it's really helped out the pitching staff. Bundy's been okay. Obear and Archer have been, good enough. Am I sold on this rotation and team? No, not at all. But right now, they got to be in the top 10. They have a great record. They've been winning games. They've won 4 in a row. They're playing great. So we'll see if that lasts. But right now, I've got them at 9. Number 8, I've got the Cardinals. Gosh, I would not want to play this team. But I will say, they've got Adam Wainwright, and then it's a big drop-off in my opinion. I know Mikolas has been pitching great for them, but that dude hasn't pitched a full season, I don't think, ever. I'm rooting for him. I hope he does. But after him, they need Flaherty back, and I don't even know if he's going to be coming back this year. I haven't heard anything about him injury-wise. I'm rooting for him too because he's a cool young pitcher, but gosh, he's got a bad injury from what I'm hearing. There's no timetable for him to return. They need a couple more starters, I think, but their lineup is tough. I wouldn't want to face Arenado, Goldie, and this new Gorman kid who's 5 for 10 already after being called up for 3 games. The dude can hit. He's here to stay. There's a reason they're sticking him at second base. The dude's never played second base in his life. They're playing him at second base because they need the bat. If you can hit, they'll find a place for you. I wouldn't want to face that lineup. They've got some pretty darn good role players too, and they're the Cardinals. Historically a great team, well coached. They're number 8 in my opinion. Number 7 is the Brewers.
You didn't even mention their best player, bro.
Who?
Tommy Edman.
Okay. Well, he was included in the role player section.
I would say he's so undervalued. I feel like on that
team,
he could play pretty much any position on the field except pitcher and catcher, and I think he leads their team in WAR. Like he balls out for them big time.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Such a consistent spot at the top of that lineup as far as getting their offense going, producing runs for that lineup. He's so big for that team.
Exactly.
100%.
We talk about Goldschmidt, all that he's doing too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely right.
Edmonds the guy getting on base, extra runs to drive in. So,
yep,
definitely. I had to plug his name because I played Little League with him. He's like one of the homies.
I think I remember you sending a picture in with him. That was awesome.
Yeah, we were on the
Very
Dodgers in Little League, which I hate to say, but
well, better than the Yankees. But yeah, I got them at 8. I was not high on them going into the season, but they've proved me wrong. They're playing well, and I can trust that franchise. I can trust that team. But they need another arm. They need another arm, and their bullpen's been not as good as I thought. They've always had a good bullpen. This year, they've been a little shaky. I need to see more out of them, out of their arms. Number 7, I've got the Brewers. I think the Brewers have one of the best rotations in baseball. They've got Burns, Woodruff, and Peralta. I know he just went to the IL. Then they've got Lauer and Hauser, who are 4 and 5, but they'd probably be a 3 and 4 on most teams. This is a pitching dominant team. Reminds me a lot of the Nats a couple years ago when they were really good. Very pitching heavy, but their lineup doesn't really do it for me, to be completely honest with you. I know they've got some guys playing pretty well right now, but I'm not sold on this Brewers lineup, and they've also only played 2 series against teams with winning records so far this season. So I need to see them play some good competition before I move them up. I know a lot of people have them in their top 5. I don't yet. I need to see them play some good teams first. So I've got them at 7. I've got the Angels at 6, who have an absolutely stacked lineup, but they're pitchers. Can you trust Sandoval, Lorenzen, and Detmers down the line? I really don't think I can. And to be completely honest with you, can you trust Syndergaard and Ohtani down the line in big games? I don't know. Their pitchers scare me a little bit. They've been overperforming. But if they keep pitching like this, I don't see how the Angels don't win their division, or at least make the playoffs. I think this is a very good team with one of the best lineups in baseball. They hit with 2 of the best hitters in baseball. Let's not kid ourselves. Trout and Shohei, 2 of the best hitters in baseball. So I've got them at 6. I've got the Mets at 5. I know a lot of people have them a little higher. I think they might have the best record in baseball, or they're up there besides the Yankees. But the main thing here is health, to be completely honest with you. DeGrom and Scherzer, they're going to be out for a couple months. I'm very curious to see how this team battles through those 2 injuries. If they can, continue to win games, I'll be very surprised and very impressed. But their lineup is cracked. Their lineup is great. Let's not kid ourselves. And they're winning a ton of baseball games. They've got some serious depth on that team. They cut Robinson Cano. They couldn't figure out who to release. They had so many good guys. So that team is scary. It's still the Mets. The Mets will Met. I'm not scared of them. That's why I got them at 5. We'll see, when their guys come back and see if we can move them up. But they're winning baseball games. They have a great record. Great team. Number 4, I got your Padres, Delberto. They got the best player. They got the best player in baseball right now. They've got 3 guys in the top 5 for most quality starts this season in Musgrove, Darvish, and Manaea. And they've also got this young arm, Gore, this lefty who's an absolute stud. Nobody's talking about him. This kid's a beast. And Tatis isn't even back yet. This team scares the living daylights out of me. They're very good. We'll see if they keep it up. But Delberto, I'm high on your Padres at this point. They've proved me wrong. They are a good baseball team. They're one of the best hitting baseball teams against left-handed pitching. They scare me. I've got them at 4. Number 3, I've got the Astros.
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, they're good, man. I don't know when Tatis is coming back, but when he comes back, and if Cronenworth can get going, that team scares me. Number 3, I've got the Astros. Verlander pitching like this, you kidding me? Frambler and Garcia at the 2 and the 3. McCullers is going to come back at some point. Gosh, this team is so freaking good. They're still the Astros. Hot take, but Pena might be better than Correa down the line. This kid's going to win Rookie of the Year. He's an absolute stud. Jordan, Altuve, Gurriel, Bregman, Brantley, Chaz, Tucker. Give me a break. These guys rake. These guys have a great rotation. Scary team. One of the best teams in baseball. I've got them at 3. Maybe the team I want to play the least, just experience-wise, and they're unbelievable. They're unbelievable. Number 2, I got the Yankees. And I know a lot of people are going to say the Yankees should be number 1, but there's 0 chance I'm putting the Yankees at number 1 in my power rankings. Not a chance. I got the Yankees at 2. They are the best team in baseball right this second. But in my opinion, I think their starting rotation is overperforming and their bullpen is sketchy. Chapman has given up a run in 5 straight outings. They just sent Chad Green to the IL. He's done for the year. He's getting Tommy John. So until Chapman figures it out and they go out and then buy another arm for the pen, which they're obviously going to do, they're the Yankees. I'm not sold on them. Jamont, Cortez, Talion, and Severino, they've been great so far this year. We'll see if that lasts. I don't think it will. But Judge and Stanton are absolutely raking. LeMahieu's back. Rizzo and Donaldson, they're going to get going. Not like they're playing bad right now, but they're gonna keep hitting better, and we'll see if Gallo can figure it out down the line. But this team is really good. They're really good. I got them at 2. Hate to say it, but they're very good. Best team in the AL. And then number 1, the Dodgers. In my 23 years of life, this is the best assembled team I've ever seen. I've ever seen in my life. And they're not even playing that great yet. And they're 27-13. I don't get it. I don't see how this team doesn't win the World Series. I think they really have to F up to not win the World Series. Betts, Freeman, Turner, Rios, Muncy, who's not even playing well yet. Other Turner, Bellinger, Chris Taylor, who's an absolute dog. Will Smith is an absolute dog. They got Lux on the bench. This team is insane. Best team I've ever seen assembled. Bueller and Urias, they're not even pitching at their best right now. They're still winning games. Goodness gracious. Gonsolin, I was saying the other day, maybe the most underrated starting pitcher in baseball. This dude is dominant. When he's healthy, he's so good. They got Anderson and Heaney. One of those two guys will probably go back to the pen when Kershaw comes back. And they got Kershaw. And they're in no rush to bring him back, as they should. But goodness gracious, this is the greatest team I've ever seen assembled. I don't see a world where the Dodgers don't win the World Series. I know it's baseball. I know it's sports. Anything can happen. But it's the best team I've ever seen. Best team I've ever seen. So we got the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Astros, the Padres, the Mets, and then we got the Angels, Brewers, Cardinals, Twins, and Rays. Those are my power rankings right now. Anything you guys hate? Anything you guys love?
I mean, I don't hate it. I know you kind of assumed that I would have the Rays higher. I didn't put the Rays in my top 10. I left them out. I just think they haven't shown enough to me. And even like, you think of the Rays, you think of their pitching being a strength. It's been questionable lately with the guys who've been rolling out. And our plays in the field, my God, Randy Arozarena has looked like a 6-year-old in the outfield. And it's not just him. So honestly, I mean, even with as lethargic as the Jays offenses look, I put them at 10 over the Rays.
Wow. Okay.
I just think they're, from a pitching and defensive standpoint, starting to put it together a little bit. But obviously we still have the questions with their offense, so I completely get that there. I had the Angels too. I'm really excited to see where they go. Had them at 5. The stuff that we've seen from their rotation, just incredible. They've been doing insane stuff lately. Sandoval's an ace. Lorenzen's been doing his stuff. Obviously, Ohtani's been coming out for the most part and being shut down. But yeah, I don't disagree with too many things you got there. I mean, that was terrible, but they just got yeah, I have a couple of people flip, but majority I agree with. I do have the Yanks at number 1 too.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Alberto?
No, I agree with the list of teams that you have out there. I mean, there's a few that I would probably like flip flop, but I think power rankings, I mean, I don't really agree with them, but I know it's like a good thing to talk about. But I'm excited to see how the Dodgers and Brewers continue to play, because I think they're two of the teams that have had the easiest schedule so far in the MLB.
Yep.
And the Dodgers have been underperforming, in my opinion.
100%.
So I honestly think we see the Brewers kind of fall off. Their hitting has been subpar this year. And I think teams are starting to get used to their starting rotation. Not used to, but like I feel like
They're settling in.
a lot of the teams have seen these pitchers a few times now, so they kind of know what to expect. Because like Burns came up out of nowhere last year or 2 years ago, and I think people got caught off guard with him. And then one thing that I've noticed with the Giants, so last year I think a lot of people believed they overperformed last year with the roster they had. It was supposed to be like a rebuild year. But I think the biggest issue for them this year is that their pitching staff is not performing to what we saw last year. They had a lot better outings last year, and this year it seems like some of their studs that are supposed to ball are getting raked. Like we saw Rodon get raked his last 2 outings, I think it was back to back. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but I think it's a little early. But I think one of the things that you need to keep in mind is the opponents that some of these teams have faced. So that's why I really do like the Red Sox. Even though they have a losing record, they've played some of the toughest teams in the MLB so far. So I think once they start playing a little bit easier of an opponents going forward, I think that we'll see them get back into the winning column.
100%.
And then also Baltimore has played quite a few tough teams. Well, obviously they do because they're in that division, but I think when they start playing crappier teams, that they're going to bust out a lot of wins.
I hope you're right. I really do. I mean, how can you not root for that team? And I'm with you with the Red Sox. I mean, if you look at the Red Sox stats and you look at their team, and I told you they're under 500, you'd say, what are you talking about? You'd say there's no way that team's under 500. They've played a lot of good teams. They won't be under 500 for much longer. Dilberto, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And gosh, Devon, I can't believe you have the Blue Jays over the Rays right now. I don't hate it. But the Blue Jays, man, they haven't shown me anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good spot where their offense starts to get going. I think starting with today, not that we've talked about that yet, but yeah, I think their pitching has shown a little more consistency for me, especially in their bullpen. And they're not coming off the greatest offensive performances, but like I said, I think they'll start to get it together soon.
Who do you guys think is the most disappointing team of the season so far? I'd probably go the Rangers. I know they don't have good arms, but gosh, man, with that lineup, I don't know how they're not scoring more. I'd probably go Rangers for me.
Yeah. I mean, before probably like the last week and a half, I probably would have said the White Sox, to be honest, just because of how lethargic their offense is. But, I mean, they're starting to pick it up a little bit. If they can continue on this pace, hopefully they won't end up in that category, but that definitely would have been my pick.
I still think it's a good pick.
I was going to say either the White Sox or the Phillies, to be honest. I feel like the Phillies are kind of underwhelming.
Yes.
But so I don't know. But no, those are probably the two teams that I had higher expectations going into the season. I think both teams are on the right path. Like they're definitely gonna end the year with a winning schedule or winning record. But
I'd be surprised if they didn't. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I am with you. Chat, who do we think is the best team in baseball right now? You got the Dodgers, you got the Yanks, you got the Astros. Who are we thinking? Yeah, good call with the Braves, though, guys. The Braves have been very disappointing, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Good call with the Braves, but I want to know.
No, I was just going to say, I see a lot of people saying Tigers, too. I think Austin Meadows was one of the most disappointing acquisitions of the offseason. But I don't think it's completely
hit a home run yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's been bad himself, but I think also something that's not exactly in his control is that lineup. Like he's a guy who a lot of his draws, he led the majors in RBI for a lot of the year last year and, previous years with the Rays. There's nobody getting on base really in that lineup. So, I mean, he doesn't really have the chance, but he hasn't been good.
I think Baez has been underperforming big time too.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I agree. Who do you guys think is the biggest overperformer, the biggest surprise so far of the season? Who would you say? I'm looking at standings right now. I mean, honestly, Dilberto, I know we were supposed to say that we knew the Padres were going to be good, but did we know they were going to be this good? I guess we could probably say the D-backs maybe might be the biggest surprise. I mean, they're a game under 500, but I would have probably picked them to be last before the season started. The Orioles have been better than we thought, but they're still 17-25. Who would you guys say is like the biggest, surprise that's been good so far?
I'd probably say the Mets, just because, I mean, just like the Padres, I think we expect them to be good and put together with this roster, but not to already be running away with the division.
Yeah.
Yep.
Again, is not completely something under their control because the Phillies and Braves are underperforming, but I think they've put it together a lot more than we've thought. I'd probably say the Angels too, another team that you look at the talent on the roster and they're a team that should put it together, and we really are just skeptical about what they can do at the beginning of the season with good reason. So those are probably the two teams that I would say.
100%.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Angels for sure because like they've always had like talent with Trout and Ohtani the last few years, but I think that no one really expects them to be a winning team just because of the history. But this year they have a few studs on their team a lot of studs on their team that are balling out, and I think this year they might make the playoffs, to be honest.
Yeah. The question with them has always been, do they have the arms and the guys around them in the lineup? And then they started to get the guys around them in the lineup. They got Taylor Ward playing really well, a couple other guys, and now they got the aces kind of holding down the rotation. So, I mean, they're really surprising all of us, and they're set up for a pretty good run here.
Where's Brian Goodwin? Do you guys remember that guy?
Yeah.
He's on the White Sox now. Okay. He was on the Angels and was pretty decent the last 2 years. He used to be on the Nats, and we got rid of him, and he actually ended up being pretty good for the Angels for a sec. But okay, he's on the White Sox. I don't think I've seen that dude play once this year. I don't know. I always like seeing where the old Nats go and seeing what's good. I'm sure you guys like doing the same. I mean, Austin Meadows, you think he'll probably pick it up, right? I mean, goodness gracious.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I said, he didn't really hit for average consistently over the course of like his career with the Rays. A lot of his draw was just he was one of the guys that drove runs in. And with the Tigers, obviously, he doesn't have that much of a chance unless he's doing it out of the yard. So
there will be no Joe Nadone slander in this chat. Get that out of here. There will be no Joe Nadone slander. Joe Nadone money line tonight. I'm completely kidding. Please don't bet. Please don't bet the Nationals today. Please don't. Although I might, but I don't recommend. I'm trying to go to the game, but it might be like a crazy thunderstorm. I don't know. I'm trying to go see. This is the first game Trey Turner's back in DC. I'm trying to go chirp him a little bit. I'd love to go, but the weather, we will have to see. We will have to see. Chat, if there's any games or any topics you want us to dig into, now is the time. We got like 10 more minutes ish. But I guess for now we can dig into a couple of these games. Are you on the Pirates with me or not? Let's cut the shit. Are you on the Pirates with me or not?
100%.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you want to just each go through our favorite bet of the day, maybe? Do you guys have your favorite bet of the day?
100%. I can look while you guys go. Alberto,
just because there's not much time.
Sounds
well,
like
I haven't dug in.
Bro.
Yeah, well, it's a prop, so I haven't had time to dig into the full slate yet. But with this Pirates Cubs game, I think I found a really good spot. No, not Cubs. What did I say, Cubs? Rockies. Pirates
Rocks. What do you got?
So I'm taking JT Brubaker over 4.5 strikeouts. So after digging into the statistics, and one thing that has kind of come to light this year is how bad the splits are for the Rockies, home versus away. But digging into it, the Rockies strike out 21% of the time at home and 26% of the time on the road. And in the first game after a homestand, we've seen them strike out 6 times, and 8 times against Hearn, Skubal, and Kelly. And I think that over 4.5 is a good look. With Brubaker, I think his strikeout K percent is like 26, 27%, which is pretty good. And I think that this is low. I think he honestly gets 6 or 7 today. But
sheesh.
That's what I'm taking.
Ladder up.
Brubaker over 4.5 strikeouts.
The Rockies on the road, they stink this year. I hope I don't jinx myself. I'm gonna be all over the Pirates today. Brubaker's been pitching a little bit better recently. If you've actually watched him pitch, I know he's 0-4 and his ERA is pretty high, but he's looked better in his last couple starts.
Definitely.
I'm with you. I think this
trending in the right direction.
And you could still buy low. I'm not saying Brubaker's next Scherzer, but Dilbert, I like that pick. I'm probably going to tail that with you, to be honest with you. I might honestly ladder it on FanDuels. We'll have to check it out. I'll hit you up after this. We got some time. Thank goodness. Day baseball. I love day baseball, guys, and it's nice to have on during the day. I'm cool with like one game, but when they've got like 4 or 5 1 o'clock start times or noon start times, it really makes it tough to cap all these games. I don't know if you guys agree or not. Dilberto, I know you're out west, so you have even less time. I love having the night games stacked. Preferably, my perfect MLB schedule would be one game on at 3 p.m. and then the rest of the games at night. Because I like having that extra time, checking out where the money's going, not being rushed, right? Having time to really dig into the props and expected stats and stuff like that. The date when there's 5 or 6 1 o'clock games, it makes it tough. Really does.
That's true, because when they're like noon for you, it's like 10 a.m. for me, 9 a.m. So
literally.
Couldn't imagine.
Yeah. My guy's asking, what are my personal thoughts on how the White Sox are doing? I think the White Sox will be okay. But if you watch them play, they've got really no heart. They remind me a little bit of the Nats out there. They've got a couple guys hurt, I think, but I feel like they've got no heart out there, no will. But I think that's has a lot to do with how they've been playing, and they really haven't hit the ball until the past week or so. I think yesterday's sweeping the Yanks was huge for them. I think they're moving in the right direction. I think the White Sox are going to be okay. I think if I had to pick if the White Sox were going to make the playoffs or not, I would say yes. I'd say they're going to figure it out. They're going to make the playoffs. If Kopech's pitching like he did yesterday, that's definitely a plus. I'm fine with the White Sox. Tim Anderson's a beast. 100%. Tim Anderson's the one guy on that team that does have heart. 100%. But everyone else, I feel like, is just lethargic out there. Moncada looks like he's freaking whining the whole game. No heart. I need to see more out of him a little bit. But they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay, in my opinion. And I think you guys probably agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have the talent. They should.
They should. We'll see. I mean, big difference between talent and team, right? Sometimes the most talented teams, they don't do anything. We'll have to see. Team chem is huge. These guys play 162 games. They're with each other every day. If there's no chemistry, if they're not meshing, they're not going to win as many games. That's just fact. You get teams who are worse, who might, be a little closer and winning games, like the Orioles. Those guys are boys. They're apps going bonkers, the whole game. That's a fun team to watch. I watch the White Sox, and I'm like, this is kind of sad. But I think that just has to go with how they've been underperforming. I think once they start winning and get going, they'll be totally fine. Javon, do you have a play you really like today, my man?
Well, if we're talking, I guess Dilberto's talking props. I got one too that I really love. I'm all over France today. Prize Picks will definitely be on his fantasy score. Definitely the runs and RBI prop too. If you really have to do total bases, I don't even know if he's up on Prize Picks, but on a book, if you have to go total bases, go total bases. He's facing Zach Logue for the A's. He's having an incredible year so far, and he's been up for 4 or 5 starts, I think. But he's a 50% fastball guy. He's a lefty too. He has trouble with leaving that fastball over the plate. Ty France Hunt's fastball is hitting 350. 5 of 6 home runs have been off fastballs. And he has reverse splits, but they're deceiving because when you look at his advanced metrics, he hits the ball much harder against lefties. He's just getting a little unlucky. And then if we're talking, point production as far as fantasy points, his production is RBIs, runs, walks, all higher against lefties. I'm expecting a pretty big game out of him today. He might go yard, but I really like him in the spot today.
Ty France isn't getting talked about at all, and he's absolutely raking.
He's having a great year.
Raking. Yep. Nobody's talking about him. I mean, it's probably because the Mariners. I mean, talk about one of the most disappointing teams. I don't know how we didn't bring up the Mariners. They have been. They're a joke. They're a joke right now. Will they figure it out? I don't know if this team will figure it out. They haven't showed me one thing. I can't really name a single positive about this team besides Ty France. Rodriguez is starting to get going a little bit, the youngin. I mean, they sent Kalinick down. That's really disappointing. Everyone was gassing him up, getting called up last year, but he really can't hit the side of a barn right now. Eugenio Suarez, I mean, he looks like a made-up cartoon character out there with his hair, and he, I mean, if he's rocking that hairstyle, he's got to be hitting a little bit better than 220. He's got 8 bombs, but I mean, he's got to be doing more. He's got to be producing more. And Winker's been a huge disappointment for them. The Mariners have been brutal. They've been brutal. I hope they can figure it out. They've lost me some money. I know Logan Gilbert is a stud. I agree with you, Peyton, in the chat. But yeah, they've been really disappointing. 100%. He's a dog, though. I agree. Gilbert's a dog. What else, chat? What else you guys want to talk about? Brewers are favored over the Pirates. What are you talking about? I'm definitely pitching. What are you saying, Deborah?
Wait, sorry. The Brewers are playing the Padres, right?
Yeah, I don't know what.
I thought someone said Pirates.
No, he did say Padres. That's my bad.
Oh, okay.
Krabs,
I'm seeing a pick 'em for that game.
What do you got?
I'm curious. What do you think about the Blue Jays Cardinals game today?
Oof. And I honestly haven't dove in to every game yet.
I mean, I definitely lean towards the Blue Jays from what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So do I.
Can we trust Barrios finally?
I mean,
can we finally trust him?
I think he's starting to get going. I mean, you look at it. I mean, the Cards are coming off of dominant performance against the Pirates. They're short favorite, total only at 7.5. Makes me think Barrios is dealing today. And when you look, this is like a similar situation. I don't know if you remember the Sox Astros Pavetta game. where Luis Garcia was pitching. Their dramatic difference in their road and home splits between the two pitching. So this is Barrios over 6 ERA on the road, Michaelis under 2, and they're this short of a favorite. It just doesn't make much sense to me.
I'm with you.
You look at Michaelis too. His pretty much his primary pitch is a slider. He limits a lot of hard contact against it, and the Jays are one of the best teams across their lineup versus sliders. Particularly, which shocked me, in the bottom of their lineup, those guys are the ones that have the great numbers against sliders. When you look at the Jays' offense, they've been terrible, yes, but when there's some run production out of the bottom of that lineup, that's when they have their good games and their breakout games. So I think they have a solid chance.
And I agree with Chat. We can't trust the Blue Jays, but I mean the Cards is the square play here. I'll be on the Blue Jays probably today as well. Javon, good eye on that one. I'm willing to give Barrios another shot. He's been pitching a little bit better recently. I think my favorite play today is the Pirates. Pirates money line. I think they're minus 140-ish on some books, which stinks. I'm going to try to find the best line, but I mean, I can't figure out a reason why they'd be favored here in this spot, which tells me they're winning today. That's simple. Don't overthink it. I'm betting the line, not the team. I like the Pirates today and Brubaker, Delberto. I'm with you. I might even take that prop with you as well, my man. But that's what I like. I like the Pirates as my play today. Delberto, you like Brubaker over 4.5 strikeouts.
Yeah.
And Javon, you like Ty France over everything? What were you saying? Like if you had to pick
Pretty
one.
much, yeah. Over everything, but main play for Prize Picks people would be over 7 fantasy score.
Okay. I mean, Seattle needs to get going, and they're facing Logue. Honestly, Oakland's pitching's been kind of impressive this year. Their bullpen and their starters. Their numbers have been pretty good, and they've got a bunch of random McGee's. So shout out to Oakland, but there's got to be regression coming. Maybe this is the perfect storm. Seattle needs some regression positively. And we know it's there. They have some guys who can rake. They've raked their whole career. Maybe they get going and they start beating up this Oakland team who's just not very good. And maybe they get a sweep and start getting hot. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I like that play too, Javon. Ty France has been raking this year.
Yeah,
he's been raking.
Yes.
But yeah, boys, thanks for coming on. This was a dub. Chat, thanks for coming. Bangs in chat before we go. Going to pass this off to Trent. Big day today.
Yes,
Happy it's not a full MLB card. It's Monday. It's a square Monday, so take it easy. But let's make some money today. Let's start the week off right with some winners. You guys know I'm coming with the winners. We absolutely killed it with MLB last week. Nothing's changing today. Passing it off to Trent. The man is due for a parlay. He is so due. He's smacking one today.
Yes,
today.
sir.
feeling
Let's
it.
get it, boys. I'll catch you boys later, all right?
All right.
Fellas.
Peace.